Good morning, everyone. This is our second edition of Coffee Connections, our monthly conversation with the mayor and some of the town staff and some of the commissioners.
I'm Shannon White with Eastwake Education Foundation.
Hi, good morning. I'm Larry Laux, Zebulon Commissioner.
Good morning, I'm Joe Moore, I'm the Zebulon Town Manager.
Sheila Long, Zebulon Parks and Recreation Department.
Good morning, I'm Junior Smith III with the Wake Weekly.
Good morning, Gwen Neal, resident.
Good morning, Kim Curry, Managing Broker of eXp Realty.
Melissa Kelly, State Employees Credit Union.
Jenny Privet with Zebulon Women's Club.
John Saffold with the Chamber of Commerce.
We'll start off with just a little bit from the town manager.
All right. So before I recognize Sheila Long, our Parks and Rec Director, I wanted to give some context. And if you've come to enough public hearings, you've probably heard this. But I want to be mindful that not everyone has been in the community a while. So if you're new to the community, I just want to give you some context about what Sheila's going to talk about. So in 2015, something happened in Wake County. It was a major milestone. They did not realize it at the time, but they had reached their 1 millionth person. It took them about 2.5 centuries to get to 1 million people. They were expected to get the next million in 3.5 decades. Zebulon was in a prime position to grow. The land was relatively cheap. When I say cheap, it cost about 1/4 to 1/5 of what it cost to develop property in the western part of the county. Also, Zebulon had great access, meaning driving distance and uninterrupted driving distance between Zebulon to Raleigh and Durham and RTP. And what I mean by that is, yes, they were close. You can get to downtown Raleigh within 25 minutes. But also the highways are what are called controlled access highways, meaning you don't have a lot of driveways butting in. It's pretty much a freeway. Wake Forest, in contrast, you got a lot of stop and go traffic to get from Wake Forest to Raleigh. So close proximity, easy to get travel, and the land is cheap. And sure enough, we started to grow. So to prepare for that growth, just as it was coming, the town of Zebulon kicked off a strategic planning effort. Took a year long to get citizen engagement and feedback. Got a lot of feedback. We had surveys, we had focus groups. We were not too proud that if we saw you under one of our picnic shelters, we would come up and talk to you and we would do a survey right there. We asked a lot of questions. But the essence of all the questions was these two. What do you love about Zebulon that cannot change as we grow? And the second one is, what is it about Zebulon that you wish would change? And all the feedback we got fit tightly into 3 focus groups. The first was whether you were here forever or you just got here. There was a lot of pride and value in how the downtown looked. And the residents, again, whether they're long-time or newcomers, they wanted to see a vibrant downtown. The downtown had become very shuttered. How it looks now is demonstrably different and more vibrant than it was 6 years ago. So that was one category. Second category was to grow smart. The residents knew that growth was coming. They weren't going to be prohibited against that, but they didn't want to grow for growth's sake. They wanted to grow smart, meaning that they wanted to have some kind of influence in how things developed, and they wanted to be prepared for it. Infrastructure, staffing, those kinds of things. And the last category, which is the segue to Sheila's presentation, is they wanted to preserve and protect that small town life. No matter how big they got. They wanted to somehow, some way preserve and protect that small town life. Now there's lots of ways to achieve and maintain and preserve and protect small town life when you're growing, but nothing more better than the Parks and Recreation program. Parks and Recreation is how people come together. They physically connect. Either they are partaking in programs or their children are partaking in programs. And so Parks and Recreation is a way to get new people that have just arrived into the community connected and connect them with the old-time, long-time residents. And so Sheila's going to talk with you about the programs and the projects that her department is overseeing, talk a little bit about our Parks and Recreation Master Plan and how that goes towards that focus area and the goals associated with the small town life component of our strategic plan. So with that, I'll kick it over to Sheila Long.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I am really appreciative of any opportunity to share with our community the great things that are happening. But they're happening not because of staff, they're happening because of the community. And where we are now, Zebulon has long had a huge focus on parks and recreation. It was community driven from the very beginning, having it starts as a recreation commission. So as the strategic plan happened and we started to move forward as a community and we're facing growth, we started on the process of a comprehensive master plan. And so what a comprehensive master plan did is it took a really deep dive into what's going on in our community, different plans that are happening, what's going on in the region from a recreational perspective and an economic development perspective. And it also, because we were facing such rapid growth, we added things that are uncommon in a master plan, such as an operational assessment, a staff assessment, and a program assessment. So we had a really stout process. But the heart of the process was our community. And I'm so proud of Zebulon, and it just speaks to who we are at heart in that we had over 700 touches of community engagement in our master planning process. That stands up there with much larger communities like the city of Rocky Mount and the town of Wake Forest. They have very similar processes that saw equal participation. So I think that speaks wonders to our community and their support of recreation, their interest in recreation, and I'm proud to work with our community because of that. What came out of that process, I'm going to share, it's like a quick overview, and it probably is helpful to see it. Let me pass those around. So this is just a quick snapshot of what came out of our master plan. And what our master plan did is it evaluated all of those pieces from the research to the community engagement to offer us a vision. So we want to connect all of our citizens and our community through quality parks, programs, and facilities. And the vision of how we're going to do that is through positive impacts on health and wellness, social interaction, economic growth, and environmental stewardship. And so a lot of our events and some of the parks that have been proposed or improvements to our park system represent that interest from our community to be a part of economic development. But it's also demonstrated in how closely my department works with the planning department. We might as well have an office together some weeks because Mike and I talk constantly about developments that are going on or interested businesses coming to our downtown, and how our department has a role in securing that or impacting that or creating something that would be able to bring in new businesses. So we'll look at this for just a second. I'll show you on this page in particular. So this is the overall vision map. So we went through that process, we collected all that information, then we took this back to the community and got additional feedback. And essentially what this map shows, these green circles are new parks that you may be interested in, and those are primarily based around development. So there's opportunity for us to connect to other communities on the eastern side as well through Greenway. So we're really excited about that. You know, we've recently opened the town's first developed piece of Greenway at Beaver Dam Creek. And so we're proposing to continue that process and continue to work with our developers and then a connection between those two. Trying trying to think what else. All right, over here in this top corner, you'll see it's a conceptual. It's not like a final design or anything, but it's just what could be, like what we've visioned, what we've heard from our community. What are things that we could do with Community Park? And so what you see with Community Park is an expansion with additional ball fields, additional soccer fields. And the reason we would want to do that is, one, yes, we are growing rapidly, and we're going to need more facilities to serve this growing community. But if we ever want to host tournaments, tournaments have a significant impact on your community, from your restaurants, bringing in lodging, a variety of other things, your small retail, specifically in a downtown area, they can have a good impact. But you need at least 4 baseball fields or 4 soccer fields in one place, not spread out across the community, for that to be attractive to tournament directors. So we currently work with some tournament directors, but because we only have 2 fields at one location, we're really like a spillover. So we still bring them in, and they have a great impact, but we have the potential to do more. There's also the potential for a splash pad at Community Park. And then we have a conceptual for Little River Park. So again, this is just a first brush at what could be. Very nature-based. I think it's important. It's a 20-acre park. There's a lot of elevation issues, so you're going to be limited what type of construction you could do there, just based on wetlands and a lot of other things. But I think the important thing for us to know about Little River Park is that it is going to be part of something much larger in the grand scheme of things. We hope that it will be a trailhead for that 2,000 to 3,000 acre future county park we hope to see. But we want what we do at Little River Park to be something that cherishes the natural environment, gives us opportunity to educate our community on environmental elements, but also to be that connection outside of Zebulon. And then the conceptual for 5 County Stadium, we are so blessed to have that in our community. And as we grow, and in working with the planning department when they did the land use plan, our plans worked very closely together. And so you'll see similarities in the conceptual for this community park with conceptuals done in the land use plan for future economic development projects there. So this was designed in a way to encourage economic development, but also meet needs from our community.
Where we are right now, we're getting a lot of interest from the county about expansion of what Little River is right now. And it's probably a prime time to take advantage of what they're looking at right now.
That's good, yeah.
As far as that 300 acres is concerned, that will connect us all the way up to Roseville. It was something that was mentioned in the other meeting, I think, about where parks are. We have a locator. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so the county has a park locator website and an app. So I'll be happy to send a link to you, John, on where that is. I don't have one of the
little cards.
One of those little bookmark
yeah, like a
things
bookmarker.
with me,
I can
but
send
yeah.
that out.
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
absolutely send that. But Zebulon is just so fortunate. I mean, 150 acres of parkland for a town our size is significant. This is our current program guide. So it'll take us through the summer. One of the things, we've offered a variety of programs for many years, but our master plan included a program assessment, and it was able to help us identify, it gave us the tools to identify maybe some areas that we were really strong and areas that we needed to grow based on our vision. And so what we can't do everything because we do have a limited programming staff, but our goal is throughout the year, we want to make sure that we are offering something for everyone. So there were areas where we lack significantly, and I'll give the example of special needs programs. We didn't have, we've never turned people away that wanted to participate. At the same time, we didn't have anything that directly was particularly focused on special needs. And so those are things that we are in the process of finding the right partners to be able to do that. So I've already secured a great partnership with Skyhawks. So they're coming in and doing programs for toddlers and preschoolers. The Poe Center, when it comes to health, the Poe Center in Wake County, we've had lots of great conversations with them to bring in additional programs. But that's our overall goal, is to have something for everyone as we continue to grow. And we are trying things that we've never tried before. We're trying to make sure we're hitting our adults. We are rethinking spaces. So I'll give the example of the community center. We have a classroom that's pretty underutilized. So we took a step back and thought, what can we do to provide a service to our community, provide some programming, not have a high, because we are limited in staffing, not have like a high level of staff impact, but still have a recreational impact. And so our classroom has been turned into a senior lounge. So it is now open for self-led recreational opportunities, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then in the afternoon and evenings, we are doing scheduled programming and rentals in that space. So we have a full calendar of events, and we do a variety from community-based events to your flagship events in the community. So our flagship events are going to be our Spring Festival and our Downtown Tree Lighting Festival. So the Spring Festival will take place in downtown on May 14th. And so we are combining several different events that happened in the spring to this one larger event, and it will be, like I said, downtown. And we have relied on our community partners and the civic groups to make these events happen. They have all come to the calling and provided activities and help in planning, and it's just been a wonderful experience.
I knew we were talking about developing a policy for folks that could not afford to pay for some of these programmings. Just speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so we have a Parks and Rec Advisory Board, and we do a retreat with them every year. And last year, they set goals for them as an advisory board, and that was community engagement and community awareness. And one of the action items was to create a financial aid fund for youth to be able to participate in sports and summer camps that otherwise could not afford to. And so they have raised $1,000 last year, and we have developed a policy, and we have been able to actually promote that. So it's long been our philosophy that we didn't turn away kids that couldn't afford to participate. We would find a way for them to participate, but we couldn't go out and advertise because we had no pot of money. And so this has put us in a position to celebrate that and make sure that kids know and families know that they can participate. Yeah, and I think with that, it's really important. We recognize the town can't do it all.
Sure.
And that was like a really big thing that came out of our master plan, is that we can't be the sole provider or the sole planner, that it takes us all. And so down from our youth sponsorships to actually running programs, we have to have partners. But even to our events, we've talked a lot about, we have a full array of events, but at the same time, we know that there's other interests. And so for everything, we've been trying to find a way where the town can be a partner. And the town, you know, in the speaking of events, we're developing a policy so that we can be supportive of private groups that want to put on events, because we know we can't do it all. And honestly, sometimes some of those events are better run when it's not done by the town.
The amount of programming that we have is outstanding. I mean, it ranks right up there. And I think when we did the survey, they were really astonished that we did so much with so little, you know. Moving right along here, John and I was having brainstorms this morning, obviously, because one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was what you have before you on that newspaper. Not Wake Forest Oscar winner, but the next one down, which that's important too. That's great for our area, but the come take a free ride, and that's real exciting for our community, and that's through the Go Wake transportation effort, and Mr. Smith was there from Wake Weekly, and Commissioner Miles, and some of the Wake County commissioners, and we took the first ride on the Go Smart bus. This is going to be linking folks in the community. You just call them up and tell them you want to go somewhere, and they will come and pick you up, take you to doctor's appointments, grocery stores, and it's a pilot project right now, and so it's free. It's free. So this is huge. This is huge for a community like this, because it will connect folks to downtown. It will connect folks to the regional center for resources that they probably have no idea that they could benefit from. I could see someone saying, catch the bus to the Mudcat Stadium for a game. I mean, it just has the potential. So it's a federally funded pilot project that hopefully one day the county and the other municipalities will be able to have it permanent. But right now it's wonderful, and I think all the information is in there. On if you're not tech savvy and do the Uber app thing, you can just call them, and you can also have you can set up an advanced travel. You don't have to travel for that day. You can say, pick me up Thursday at 2 o'clock or whatever, and that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. You know, some folks might want to try to get over to East Wake Education Foundation. It's called a bus, and take you right over there. So this is for Wendell, Roseville, and Zebulon. Yeah, about to leave us out. But and if you want to take the bus to a connector to go somewhere else, that's going to be great. Like if you want to go into Raleigh or Knightdale or whatever. So this is great. This is great.
We got some exciting news a couple of weeks ago. So we worked with Congressman Price's office and submitted an allocation request to the federal government for $700,000 for alley activation in our downtown, and we are pleased to share that it has been funded. So it's been quite some process. We thought we were going to hear something by last September, and things just kept getting delayed, but we are really excited and pleased with that news. Some of you may have noticed, we recognize in our downtown we don't have an abundance of open space, and so we wanted to look at what public space we currently have access to that we could rethink and reimagine to help with economic development. And so some of the spaces that we found were our alleyways. And so you've already seen where there's 2 alleyways that have been activated at this point. Both of them are on the 100 block of Arundel Avenue. And so one has the red tables and chairs, there's bistro lighting, there's a beautiful butterfly that's getting ready to get brought back to life. So we intentionally designed that so that it could be painted with a new mural every so often, so just to keep things changing in that space. And across the way, there's another alley where we've put blue tables in, and we're in the process of putting bistro lights up there. And the exciting thing is we have been installing Wi-Fi in those areas for the public. And so before too long, you'll be able to enjoy working in that space, or if you're meeting with somebody and need to have access to the internet. We're looking forward to having that available for you. So the grant with the allocation request, is not even a grant, which is really exciting, will help us to continue those efforts of alley activation, bring in public art, do some wayfinding, expand Wi-Fi and some other basic infrastructure needs, as well as work on addressing some parking in our downtown. So we're excited.
I had a request from a school, I think it was in, Holly Springs? Anyway, they were involved in an initiative called Monarch Butterfly. So I signed a proclamation the other week, and we're doing an appreciation for the Monarch Butterfly and Parks and Rec. I didn't even know that we had a butterfly garden. So to promote that effort also. So yeah, we're always involved in trying to make the community better. So I thought that was good. And do we want to just go around and have each person tell us a little bit about what they're doing, and unless we had some more from town? We'll start with East Wake.
Okay. So we are a nonprofit located in downtown Wendell, and we offer free preschool services to families with children birth to 5. So we are currently looking at some expansion and hoping that maybe we could partner with Zebulon in the future to have some programming at your community center.
You want to tell us about that money?
Yes, so we did. We received some ARPA
Okay.
funding that would help us do this. So we're super excited. So we're hoping that we can expand into Zebulon and Knightdale, because we do serve Knightdale, Wendell, and Zebulon, with our current location just being in Wendell. One of the things we've realized is that sometimes it's difficult to get to us. So trying to bring our program a little bit closer to families so they can benefit from our services. So we're super excited. It's still very new and it's scary but exciting, because we're like, there's a whole lot of stuff coming down the pipeline with this, but we're happy to be able to expand our program.
The bus will help.
Yeah, that was very exciting to hear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Commissioner Laux.
Well, a reminder, we do have a meeting tonight, Board of Commissioners meeting. We have a public hearing on the social districts, which I think is kind of a big topic right now, and we're in the middle of the budget process. And as you know, as any town grows, we're in the chicken and egg riddle, and that you have to wait and get the people and the house so you get the tax revenue before you can build things. So one of the things we're mulling around is the possibility of a bond issue, so some things could be jump-started. Otherwise, we're going to be waiting for infrastructure year after year after year, so stay tuned on that.
And from the State Credit Union.
State Employees Credit Union's been in Zebulon since 1995. We've been in this building since, I think, 2005. And we have a new CEO as of September. We have actually been given the green light to be an more active member of the community, where we've always been fairly passive. All of our charitable contributions have been through our foundation. So this is something that parameters are being set now. We've been asked in years past, can you contribute to this? Can you sponsor this? And we've always had to say, no, everything's through the foundation. Parameters are being set now. So please ask, ask us to get involved. We now have a social media presence, which we've never had before. And we're doing a big reorganization of State Employees Credit Union. The, of course, branch service that you get won't change, but we're looking to put a big digital footprint out there. Love to hear what you said about the Wi-Fi. We're trying to get Wi-Fi where we are now. We have members that have to leave our branch and drive across the bridge to be able to send documents back to us right now. So, you know, it's been really challenging, especially with mortgages. To do that.
The chamber was closed for about a year and a half because of COVID. Different chambers have different personalities based on the town they're in and the economy of scale. You've got chambers like a Durham chamber or a Raleigh chamber that just have tons of funding and momentum, and they could just keep on going through whatever. But your small town chambers, like Zebulon, Rollsville, Wendell, whatever, you know, whenever the economy gets hit, we get hit too. And that's what happened to us. But I'm excited about what the future holds. I came in June and spent a lot of time doing a lot of listening and back in networking and getting to know people in town. And then after Christmas, we had the board, I asked the board to put together a programming committee so that we have some direction. And so we are working on that, looking at particulars as to what the chamber needs to be doing to serve the community. And what you have here today is exemplary of one of those things. What we exist for is to connect people. And we connect people for the purpose of building these relationships that further the betterment of our town. And I'm speaking capital T, little t, and looking at also an aspect of that is our business community, because the two run in tandem. You don't have one without the other. A strong community is a foundation for a strong economy, strong commerce. Strong economy, strong commerce is foundational for a town to exist well. And we as an organization are basically the advocates for the community. We're the ambassador for the community among people within town and then outside of town as well. And so, you know, just some examples of what that looks like practically. The first Coffee Connections we had, which was back in March, we had Andy Curtis, who was here as the government liaison for Wake Med. Our visitors, our guests that were here that day, conversations came up about the need to focus on mental health in Zebulon and East County. And since that time, Andy and I have met twice, along with some other people that were part of that conversation. And we're going to be reaching out to our education partners as a chamber, putting together, and Parks and Rec, as a matter of fact, Sheila, putting together a round table or a rectangular table here in this room to discuss the needs for mental health, addressing mental health needs. Looking at Parks and Rec, looking at our education partners is really the boots on the ground with those that know what's needed, and then trying to put some things together with Wake Med helping with that and potentially some other partners in town. So that's just one practical thing that the chamber does. We're the one organization that works with our elected officials, our civic organizations, our nonprofits, and works to bring representatives and stakeholders together for these conversations, for furthering the mission of the town, for furthering the betterment of the town and the region. Some things that we're going to be doing the next few months going forward. I've been meeting with Wake Ed Partnership with one of the VPs at Wake Tech and NC Works to resurrect Zebulon Next, which was an initiative that took place prior to the pandemic. And we're going to be focusing on workforce development and what that looks like post-pandemic to service our community and our business partners that are members of the chamber. October 6th, hold the date, save the date. We have made reservations with East Wake Education Foundation. Wrong one, too many East Wakes. East Wake Academy to have our annual banquet. And Lisa Lysick from Glenn Lewis Insurance, who's one of my ambassadors, is going to head that up. So we're beginning to get some traction there. Looking at Citizen of the Year award that we usually do, and some of those things that have been dormant the past few years. So those are some of the things that we do. When you think of the chamber, we are not a marketing organization. I'm trying to work on dispelling that. Memberships are an investment in such things as I've just listed, things that Melissa talked about. Providing the resources. We are a nonprofit, and membership is an investment that keeps us rolling so that we can do these things, serving as the ambassador for the town. And that's what we do. Just to close things out, I've got the agenda down at the bottom. I'm printing more and more and more what our mission statement is so people see that. And that's what I've told the board our guide needs to be. And everything that we do aligns with that. The chamber exists to foster relationships that build community and commerce. And so that's what we do. And I invite others to be engaged with us in that and engage with each other.
Backing up just a little bit, you was talking about that workforce development. We just had a tour last week at our business park and talked with some of the businesses down there. And one of their main concerns is trying to hire folks that have the expertise for their businesses. So they want to work closely with the community colleges. They want to get programs back into the community college that will assist them in hiring folks for their needs. One of the tool and die folks, I can't. Cam. Tool and die. I think they're working with Nash right now, community college, but they would love to get a program at Wake Tech so that they will have, so they don't have such a problem going out hiring folks, have to go to other states to try to hire folks, or either get folks at a level where they have to train them through their ladder. If Wake Tech had that tool and die program, which they will fund, that will be an economic driver. And they are in the process of expanding. I forgot, what are they're going to expand their, in fact, every business that we talked to down there was in the process, they got expanded. And so that speaks volumes for Zebulon, that we have industries here that are doing that well, that they need more folks and they need more space. And when you mention that workforce development, that's key. That's the key, because the more folks we can get work here, live here, it's an economic engine. It's a win-win for everyone. So hopefully, we talked with some of the county commissioners last week about getting those programs back into Wake Tech, and we got the new Wake Tech coming right across the street from the high school. Oh, what a great connection. How many places can say they got a community college right across the street from the high school? Connect those students, and from what we hear from the business folks, they want to start working with people in the 10th, 11th grade in high school, so that they can start to develop them into those programs that will guarantee them a job when they complete their certifications or whatever. It's exciting, very exciting. So just remember that piece in that workforce development.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. Coffee Connections with the mayor. It may not be Monday again, but
We'll work on it.
we'll let you know exactly when the next one will be. So thanks everyone for coming out, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you.